All right, my friend, let's get started. So,
Sure.
father of two, Iceland, all kinds of stuff to discuss. I'm trying to figure out where I start before these conversations. Always, usually, I'm lucky, and with you, I was your biggest song to date, almost 169,000 streams on Spotify alone.
Million.
Think, sorry.
Million.
Oh, sorry. My goodness. Yes. Clearly, I'm really strong with numbers. It's a good thing I talk. 169 million streams on Spotify alone. Uh, I was going to simply ask, where do you go to think about things? But then I obviously continued to research and found out that the song was inspired by your daughter. Was it your first child that inspired the song?
Yeah, this is like I wrote it when she is like 3, 4 months old, something like that. When she's like still a blob person.
It's, I mean, as a father myself, is wild how much children change our perspective on everything.
Yeah.
Were you like a excuse me, were you like a deeply, thoughtful, contemplative person before having kids already, or was it something that was sparked by kids or just amplified?
Sorry, was I deeply what?
Thoughtful. Like, did you contemplate life and all these things beforehand, or was it more so with the kids?
I think that's come a little bit more with the kids. I think I'm a pretty like straightforward person. I'm not like super spiritual or religious or like I kind of just take things as I see them, and I don't try to look for a deeper meaning most of the time because I don't feel like I can find it. And if I'm
Mm,
searching for something and I don't find it, it stresses me out. But with the kids, there's such a like clear like now I for sure have a purpose in my life. Like I wasn't sure
mm,
before. Now I know that there is a purpose to what I'm doing here, and it's the kids.
100%. Did you feel like your, self-imposed pressure or drive or the purpose, uh, grew when you had your second child, or was it just as big? Do you feel more pressure?
Um, I don't think so. I'm yeah. I don't feel like there's like a pressure, at least in a bad sense. There's like way
Mm,
more responsibility of course, but I'm ready for that, and it was a decision to have the kids, and it's not something that it was something that I was prepared for. I knew that my life was going to be completely different, and all my priorities were going to shift. I
yeah.
didn't know exactly to what extent, but yeah.
So we'll come back to, the kids and obviously this newest album, which came out at the beginning of May. But going back to that first part of my question, think about things. Do you have any rituals in your life where you do go to think about things, even if it's not life? Maybe it's music. Do you go and meditate? Do you spend time alone in a studio? Talk to me about your creative genius and also your approach to life in general.
I would like to be able to, or like have the drive to meditate. I feel like that would be a good thing for me, and it's not to find like something bigger than me. It's just to like kind of calm my mind because
Mhm.
I tend to be thinking a lot, and I kind of live in some like it's something that I'm conscious about, especially now in the past few years, to be present in the moment and not always like be so driven to whatever the next thing is. Just like be happy with
Mhm.
what's happening. Um, but yeah, I spent a lot of time alone in the studio, so I have a lot of time to spend with my own thoughts. It's good that I enjoy my own company, so that's at least a plus.
Yeah. So it's funny. I don't know why this is coming up for me now. I'm a very go with the flow guy. I have been for a long time, and even more so lately, especially as there's more kids and there's more work and there's more pressure, to use your words, because I don't think that that's stress. I think it's just pressure. I'm going back to my high school years. I mentioned before we started to record that I lived in Prague for 4 years.
Mhm.
And my high school was an international school, small graduating class. I had kids from all different countries, especially Europe. And it's so true how Northern Europe, your Finland, Norway, um, oh my God, Denmark. What am I missing? Finland,
Sweden,
Norway, Denmark.
Sweden, and
Thank you,
Iceland.
Sweden.
Let's throw Greenland and the Faroe Islands in there as well for good measure.
100%. The people are so lovely, but they're also, very stoic. It's very hard sometimes to understand if they're happy or mad because there's very this level temperament. Why are you guys like that? And, how do you separate, all the different subtleties within each other in terms of our, emotional states when the most of the rest of the world can't?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's like this is something that I kind of realized like 3 4 years ago when I was on tour in the US, and um, I went to do a writing session or a producing session with an American musician, and she was I I can't understand what like you have to tell me like if you like something or if you're excited about something because I have no idea because I will tell you the same way if I'm very excited about something
Yeah.
or if I'm not. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's I didn't really realize that I did that so much. But I think when you're around it all the time, and like at least for Icelandic people, like we're very sarcastic.
Mm.
So like when you have both of that, like we're not saying exactly what we mean, but we're also not like emoting it in a very clear way. So you have to be really good at kind of reading in between the lines or just kind of yeah, I don't know exactly how it works, but just when you're constantly around it all the time, it gets very very easy. But then when I'm in the US, like people are so like upfront with their like emotions, and like if you're happy, you're like super happy and you
Mhm.
express it in such a way, and like giving and receiving compliments and all of that is like still kind of weird to me.
Yeah. I don't think that, one is better or worse. It's more just a curiosity because I deal in coaching and a mindset. How do you within the culture there, within society, uh emote or go, let's say something bad happens. You just you feel so stressed, you're so sad, you're upset. Is it common for people to carry that, or do you go to your studio to be alone and let everything out, quietly versus publicly?
I think yeah, people don't do that so much publicly, and I think it's both with happiness or sadness. Like sometimes I feel like I don't have the like emotional capacity to be as happy or as sad as I see like some other people be. I don't know if it's actually like that or if it's just because I like don't emote it in the same way. But
It's
yeah, people definitely keep things to themselves here.
so is it kept to the self in a way where things are bottled up and they're not released, or are people just releasing things more privately?
I think there's some of both, but yeah, I think there's a lot of bottling up,
Interesting.
especially like um I feel like because I lived in Germany, I lived in Berlin for 11 years before I moved to Iceland again last year. So like I have the difference between um, between there and what was my point again? I've started thinking about Germany.
No, just, I find it interesting that, that different societies handle, emotions and these things differently and within, the northern parts of Europe and where
Yeah,
you are.
that like I think it kind of goes with the Icelandic kind of mentality of having the nicest car, having like the big house, having the family, like everything you want it to be. You want other people to know that you are doing amazing, and that part of that is also like just having like being the happiest out of anybody. So like if you're going through something, you're not gonna let everybody know because it kind of ruins the illusion of the perfect life that you're kind of expected to live in this country.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that is the case in a lot of areas, but it's so funny because, like I said, we're going to talk about your album, but it's coming up now. This album was about it was your most authentic and real, and about finding yourself and speaking your truth. And what you just said is the opposite of speaking one's truth, right? Like going through this false narrative of "I'm really happy, I promise, nothing's wrong," and how do you battle the 2? Are you starting to leave that behind and focus more on just you and your family's happiness and not caring about what other people think?
Um, yes, like what I say on the album is what I'm prepared to let out there. But I also think like I am a pretty happy guy. Like I've lived a very good life. Like there's not no like huge traumatic experiences that I've had. Like my parents were are together, and all of their like families are super close, and
Mhm.
I have I don't have like anything like that I'm hiding. But then also like yeah, we are I think maybe a little because we lived in Germany for such a long time, then
Mhm.
we have this like outside perspective, and like we had a miscarriage like half a year ago, and my wife like just made a video on Instagram talking about that like a week after or something like that, and we got a lot of like comments there, like just where she was, where people were thanking her and telling their stories
Mhm.
about how they had this happen like years ago, but they went through it alone because it was not a thing that you would talk about. So like
Yeah.
I think it's changing also. I hope so, but I don't know.
So speaking about something like the miscarriage in society there traditionally would have been something you didn't talk about,
Yeah.
but now you're doing more so.
And we did. I saw some comments also from like older people, especially where it was like, "Hey, you shouldn't like this is something that should be dealt with within the family," and
Mhm.
we just really don't agree. Like it's not like it's something to be ashamed of or anything. It's just something that happened.
Yeah. Listen, I totally agree. I've mentioned this many times before, and I'm going to keep talking about it. I had a daughter last year who was born 1 year ago this coming Sunday, June 6th. She lived for a week and then died in my arms, mine and my partner's arms, on Father's Day. And it was fucking brutal.
Yeah. Sorry
But
to hear that.
acknowledging it and talking about it and sharing it publicly was how I healed, was how she healed, and I think that it also honors her legacy, right? It's not just
Yeah,
this thing that don't talk about it. I
exactly.
want everyone to know that it happened. So I'm with you. I think it's important to get these things out there, and I often say that the first step with any type of mindset is saying it out loud. It kind of takes away that fear, and you just who cares? Who cares what other people think? Just share it. So I think you
Exactly.
did the right thing. Um, when I was pitched for you, it was really cool. The publicist did a great job of having a really short email. That's a
Okay.
fun tip for artists and publicists is when I get an email that's like 8 pages long, I don't have the time to read those. Your
Yeah.
publicist sent like literally a paragraph. Uh, let me just read it. Too much, not enough was written after moving back to Iceland, and it leans more into themes around family, life, identity, and trying to be present. And I said, "Okay, I gotta talk to this person."
There's already a lie in that, though. I had written it already when I moved to Iceland. So we
That's
got you.
awesome. You did, you did. So, trying to be present, is that something that you were already doing before, or is that once again the kids where you're like, "Oh shit, there's a lot happening here. There's so much that I have to commit to being a father." Uh, was that the big turning point in your life for a lot of these things?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I was very conscious about that before. Then I always had this like kind of grand idea of what my life was going to look like, and I was always kind of trying to work towards this like idea of my life that I had in my head. But then, like when you have a kid and you kind of like when you watch them grow up, like for the first year or two, so much is happening, and if you're
Mm,
not there for it, like you already missed it, and you start like time kind of you start to think about time in such a different way. Like now my older daughter is 7, so that's like I can really picture these last 7 years, and I can kind of
yeah.
I can place everything within like how old she is and how much she's experienced in that
Mm,
time. Whereas before, like you don't really have that kind of thought. You're just like, I'm gonna live forever, and at some point in the future, I need to be at this place, or I won't be fulfilled in my life, or something.
yeah.
And I'm trying to, yeah, get that thought out of my head and just appreciate where I'm at.
100%. This is an interesting thing and something that I struggle with. I think a lot of us do is going with the flow, surrendering to life, and knowing that if life closes a door, it'll open a window. Trusting the process, but also having goals and aspiring to heights, but not chasing it. Like, how do you balance? I want to be the best musician in the world. I want 200 million streams, not 200,000. Um, but also, it doesn't matter. How do you approach that balance?
Um, I mostly mostly don't. I'm trying to be aware of being more in the present, but I'm also still a little too like forward pushing, I think, in the sense that like it's always kind of there. Like
Mm,
yeah, I have a very hard time like completely turning off like, let's say, work mode, where I'm like trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this like music video in that way, or how I'm gonna sell tickets to that, or how I'm gonna like try to contact this person to do that, or something like that. It's always like somewhere there. So that's why I think I that meditating, if I could get into that, would probably be beneficial for me. It's just even thinking about sitting down with nothing to listen to or nothing to watch or
mm.
nothing to do for like 10 minutes, it's stressing me out. But it has something happening all the time. If I'm alone, I'm making something, or I have some like a YouTube video going on while I'm doing the other thing, or like I'm very rarely just in silence and not, yeah, kind
Yeah.
of either consuming or consuming.
You have stuff. I'm like you. There's always either stuff coming in, engaging with content, or creating content. There is this idea though of active and passive meditation. So you don't have to just sit down in silence and close your eyes and breathe to meditate. It could be hiking, it could be fishing, it could be playing golf or being on the bike in the gym. it really just comes down to finding that time where you can turn off more, of the noises that we have in society, including being a father, because that's a really loud noise sometimes, and
Oh, yeah.
turning it off and saying, "Okay, where am I at? Let me check in with myself." Do you
Yeah.
have anything that you do that allows you to do that right now outside of music? Because that's a huge one.
I play video games. I really like watching movies and playing video games, but it's still like that's still loud and fast, and like I play Rocket League, which is like a
Yeah.
car football game. So it's just like constantly like football wasn't enough. I have to be in a car also that like has the rocket engines, stuff like that. But that's yeah, I do that, and then I spend a lot of time with my like extended family as well. Like I'm very
Yeah.
close with my parents. My wife is close with her parents. We're all close with our siblings, and like my parents are close with their siblings, and so know like their siblings' children, and so yeah, we try to spend a lot of time with them.
I mean,
But
that's a
there's not.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, I don't read. I probably should do that also. I haven't read a book in 15 years more.
All of these things help. I actually think that, spending time with family and friends is underappreciated therapy. When I was in Toronto, a bunch of buddies of mine, all different backgrounds, different, ethnicities, different upbringings, different skin colors, everything. We had guys' night every Friday, and we just acted like complete buffoons, but it was also the safe space where if something happened, we were able to cry about it and like, "Hey, man, like, I feel so shitty about this. What do you think?" So I think that there is already an amazing answer, right? Having the family and the good friends around to spend that time with and to decompress from all the pressure of, you know, hundreds of millions of streams and performing and et cetera, labels and God knows what else.
Yeah.
So I think you're doing a lot of those things. What do you think? Are you do you feel calm
I
in your world?
I feel I feel pretty good. I when I play video games also most of the time I'm playing with friends. Like then I have headphones on, and then I'm talking to my friends over the video games.
Nice. Okay, I got a weird question for you. 'Cause I haven't been to Iceland or Greenland, I've only seen them through shows and movies and whatnot. There's this saying that Greenland is actually icy and Iceland is actually green. Is that accurate?
I mean, right now Iceland is pretty green, yeah, but most of the time it's like kind of grayish brown. We
So
have a
it's not
lot
true.
of winter here. I've never been to Greenland, um, but it's a lot more glacier than not there. But yeah, in summer, like Iceland is very green, and it's very like summer in Iceland is amazing, and winter is not as much, in my opinion, at least.
It's a very specific part of the world. I, haven't been able to go much, farther north than Luxembourg or Holland, not even Belgium, but man, all of y'all sound the same and are similar. I talked to Lori, Yolnan from the Rasmus last year, Finnish guy,
Yeah,
and same thing, like, I can't tell if I'm doing a good job or a bad job, if he's having a good time or not, so you gotta make sure you're telling me.
yeah,
Um,
having a good time. I'm having a great time.
nice. Okay, so, June end of June, it's your birthday, I believe you're turning 34.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
when I know about the upbringing and like, all the different musical accolades and learning piano and then the band, the first band with the Retrobots,
Yeah,
such a good name. You need to
thank
somehow bring the name back. I love it. I'm a big fan of alliteration and wordplay.
you. Nice. I just
When
met
did
this singer today, and I played video games with the guitarist yesterday, so we're still in touch.
so there is Retrobots in the future. We're
Maybe
future bots, future retro.
we'll see.
Um, When did you first realize, like, "Dude, music is my thing. This speaks to me, and I'm gonna follow this."
I think. I think School of Rock probably had a lot to say about it, like
The movie?
the Jack Black movie. I watched that. I got it on DVD, and I probably watched it like 20, 30 times or something like that over the span of like a year or something, and started my first band through that. And it was just it was the coolest thing. Those were the coolest kids, and I was so jealous of them for having that teacher, making them being a rock band and sneaking out and going to the show and getting the cheers. And
Yeah.
yeah, before that, I thought like my goal as like a until I was maybe 14, 15 was to make the Donald Duck comics. So
Okay.
I wanted to draw. I was drawing all the time, and like Don Rosa and Karl Barks were like my heroes who were like illustrators for the Donald Duck comics. But then, yeah, School of Rock made my first band, and since then, that's what I wanted to do. I'd had like played drums from when I was 7 or something, and started playing piano at 9. But it was never like I didn't think of it as like a career thing or anything like that. I don't really know why I did it. I just did.
Yeah. So you had this amazing moment, a movie, and were
Great movie, by the way.
inspired.
Top 3 movie of all time.
It's a good one. I love going back to this is like a random aside to the point that I was making, but I love going back and watching stuff now that I haven't seen in a long time or I haven't seen before, and then seeing some of the trajectory. You mentioned Jack Black. I just showed my kids Mars Attacks. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, like, I don't know, 20 years ago. Like when I saw it when it it scared me a little bit.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
it's
mean,
that long ago. Now I watch horror movies all the time, but like I remember being like scared of that movie.
so it's PG. I wasn't trying to scare my kids. It's like totally accessible. But
I
Jack
mean,
Black's
now
in that
probably
movie.
it's yeah.
And I forgot and didn't realize, and it's just cool to see like the arc that some of these actors and people have had throughout their life. And I'm sure people will say the same thing about you, 200 million streams from now. When did you say to yourself, okay, I'm in. I love this feeling. I'm making music, and oh shit, this is my career. This is what I'm doing for life versus a hobby.
I think I decided shortly after like making the band, or there was I had a little side quest where I was going to be a basketball player. I'm
Of
six
course.
nine, so I was yeah. I had basketball players in my family. My mom used to play, and it was kind of just expected of me. I wasn't being pushed to do it in any way. I was very much had an upbringing of do whatever you want, but like it was just around me so much that I just kind of felt like that's what I had to do. So
Mm,
then in when I was 17, I was in a on a basketball team where we had 11 practices a week. So 3 times before school, I would go to basketball practice, and then like yes, 6 times I would go after school or on the Saturday, and then outside of that, there were 2 times where we had to go to the gym to lift,
mm,
and it really broke my basketball will, and I haven't really touched it since. I also got fired from the team because I was drunk at a school dance, but that was kind of I think it was kind of something that I had kind of decided I didn't want to be on this team anymore, so I wasn't worried about missing out on that. But when I got to that point, like when I stopped doing basketball, I was like, yeah, okay, this is really what I want to do to be doing, and that's when I started the Retrobot band, and yeah, we won the Icelandic Battle of the Bands, which was the first like, okay, this might be a thing.
Mm,
That was in 2012. Started playing with them, that band, a bunch in Iceland, but like losing money every show.
yeah,
And then in 2017, I went to the Icelandic pre-competition for Eurovision and was in second place there. And that's when I was like, then I could start making a living from the music. And that was right after I finished music school. The reason why I moved to Berlin was to go to a music high school to learn music production and audio engineering. So right after I finished that, I was in second place in this Icelandic competition. And from there, then I knew, okay, I can actually get paid to do this.
yeah. Which brings up a really important thing is like the mindset of being a musician. I've talked to so many people within the industry at higher levels and later stages, and they've all said the same thing. If you're doing this to make money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You don't get into music for money per se, but it's like that. I'm always curious about the unwavering determination to do something. I have the
Yeah.
same thing. I'm wired the same way. What was your mindset like during those years when you're like, I'm just doing this? Did you have something specific pushing you?
Um, it was just kind of like I felt like I was good at it, and it was what I had most drive to do. I was scared of being in a like 9 to 5 kind of thing, working for
Mm,
somebody else. So I knew I wanted to do something creative. I've known that since I was very young. I knew I needed to be doing something within the arts. If it wasn't music, it could have been something else. But I'd never. It wasn't even like a goal to like be able to like tour around the world and release albums that people would listen to and stuff like that. That was like a distant kind of like in a dream world kind of not something that I
yeah,
was necessarily like I was working towards that, but I never expected it to happen. And I don't know why I just kept going and I kept believing that it was gonna happen at some point. And then
mm,
I just tried out bunch of different things and yeah, I have a lot of like people in my life that do music and love making it, and we were like making music when I was younger and kind of had the same like goals in mind, but most of the people just start doing something else, or
yeah.
they weren't as committed or as focused as I was. I was like, this just I'm gonna make this happen. I don't know what would have
Did
happened if I didn't have a if think about things hadn't happened like 6 years ago. If I would like I would have to have a job, you know,
yeah.
especially
But
now
did
with
you
kids. Like there's no. It was kind of to do the music video for Think About Things was kind of like a Hail Mary. Like I have to rethink my life a little bit if it doesn't work, and then it worked way
yeah,
better than I thought. So I had to still rethink think my life, but in a more
a
positive way.
different direction.
Yeah.
Did you ever have like a plan B or a fallback plan while you were doing the music stuff, or was it just all music until you had to reevaluate, if you had to reevaluate?
I kind of had a. I think I can allow myself to do that because I am like I have a lot of privilege in the way that like I come from Iceland, where like my parents were in school when I was young, but they were like we were doing fine, like middle class
Mm,
Iceland, which is um which is upper class in a lot of other countries. Like
yep.
I had the opportunity to get a music education, and there wasn't like I had the opportunity to fail in like
Mm,
that wouldn't have been the worst. I could have went back and got a job, and like I have a network that would have allowed me to fail and still do fine. And I
Yeah,
had been working with my dad. My dad is a sound engineer for film. So he like I had done some jobs with him, went and then did some boom operating. So I'm pretty sure if music hadn't worked out, that's what I would be doing right now. I would probably
that's
be
awesome.
doing the same job as my dad.
I'm not as tall as you. I'm only 6'1", 6.5", but we've had some similarities because my dad was a world champion table tennis player before Canada even had an Olympic team. So he grew up with that mindset of just playing and training and eat, sleep. And then that translated to me in high school and university with baseball and a little bit of volleyball. But I played baseball on an international level. Um, junior world championships 1 year in the US and in the university, but it wasn't for me. And similar to you, I kind of just stopped playing overnight. But where our stories are different is that I also had privilege and education and these amazing things living in Europe and Canada, but I didn't really know my why until later. And because I had a career and because I had a job and success, I had a safety net,
Yeah,
and it wasn't until the pandemic where I was let go from my last job, last 9 to 5 ever, um, and that safety net was gone, and you're like, "How are you gonna pay for things?" That there's almost like a relief, that there's the stress of the money and where is it coming from goes away, and you're like, "Fuck it. I'm betting on myself, and I'm doing this full time, and
yeah,
I'm gonna figure it out no matter what."
yeah.
Do
I
you
think
feel the same?
sometimes I see like artists and or like hear their backstory or see people that are like trying to like get to a place where they can make this their job or do it full time, and I'm just like in awe of like the determination and like I yeah because like a lot of people don't have that safety net. So if they just
Yeah.
go full on, spend years and years trying to get to a place with the music and it doesn't go anywhere, like it can be very bad.
Mhm.
So when people like have that and still go for it, that's very impressive to me.
I agree. That doesn't mean that there's only one way. Like, you don't have to be a starving artist to make it. There's other people that I've talked to, like David Nestor, a phenomenal drummer who's down in the US. He drum techs for big bands like I believe System of a Down and some other big names like Disturbed. I'm probably getting them wrong. But he said, like, I do drum work and I do other jobs to pay for my life so that I can go and do what I love to do, which is drumming for bands. So you don't
Yeah,
have to do the starving artist thing, but he still lives and works within the field that he loves to create in. And for
yeah,
me, it was more like I was so reliant on the safety net and on the job and paying the mortgage and all that stuff that I didn't take the big step I needed towards being an entrepreneur and being creative, which is similar to being a musician, right? You have to just go all in
yeah.
or be all in mentally and do work around doing music,
Yeah, I
doing
mean,
art.
I um, I had jobs where I would come home after and just like work 9 to 5 at a like the last job I had before moving to Berlin was at a mattress store at I don't know if you have it in the US, like Jysk is called, and then I yeah would clock out of there and then go home and make music until I went to sleep, and then I went back to
Yeah,
to that job and constantly thinking about where I was going with my music. Like that was always just a thing to get money, and then so
yeah.
I know I would still be making music if it wasn't my full time thing. I would be not as happy, I think.
Do you think that if that I mean, it's always impossible to say, but, like, if that song, your biggest single hadn't blown up when it did, do you think you would have stopped or, like, entirely or just maybe taking a step back to focus on generating some revenue and some stability for your family before continuing forward in music?
I think I would have had to take a step back for sure.
Mm,
Like I wouldn't risk that. Like my music career is not worth, I don't know, like the stability of my kids. So yeah, for sure.
uh,
Like I would have like I knew that like I had this like in the back of my mind, like I I would go back to audio engineering for film. But then I also had this other or like a dream backup plan was to build a nice studio, have a bunch of analog synthesizers and stuff, and get
mm,
different musicians in to like run their stuff through that. So I would be like this, the engineer there. You would bring your like half finished songs or whatever in there. We go like run through it together on the synths and try to make that into something. And like that was the other that was kind of the goal, the end goal in a way. Like I really wanted to make music. That was
mm.
my biggest thing, and whatever way I could do that.
Cool.
But then I have to yeah have a job also.
So let's change it up a little bit. So you come from where you come from in this world, and you have a personality shaped by having lived in Northern Europe and then in Iceland, obviously. But you've also traveled a lot. That's another similarity for us. You've lived in, I believe, when you were 8 or 9, you went to Denmark, and then you said you've lived in Germany as well.
I
Did
was in Denmark from when I was 1 until 9, so I
Oh, sorry. So other way around. So
yeah, started life there.
yeah. So Denmark, Iceland, Germany, back to Iceland.
Yeah, with half a year in Cambodia.
Oh, of course. Why not? What were you doing there? Don't
I was there with my wife when we were like making a travel vlog kind of show for the internet version of the Icelandic national broadcaster. So every
Okay,
week we would churn out 2 10-15 minute episodes of whatever we thought of
cool.
doing that week.
So with the traveling, how do you think that those travels, living in different countries, even prior to having a family, shaped your mindset? Because this album, you talk about identity and knowing yourself and presence. What did travel do to you? What did seeing different parts of the world do? Even now, be like working with people in the US, what did that do for you?
I think it um I don't know if it's the right word, but makes me more like empathetic. Like
Yeah, empathetic.
I connect with people that are very much different from me in more of a way that because I've seen a lot of different like cultures and different mindsets and you kind of get this understanding of like there's like mine isn't better than yours or the other way around. Like I yeah, people are just people.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing from that. I I'll sometimes see interviews with musicians and or artists in general that think very highly of themselves and like feel like they're like the best in what they're doing or like just yeah, I don't think in that way. I'm just one of the guys.
Which is a beautiful sentiment, and I think that it's not easy to do. A lot of people get lost in success. Perspective is huge. So I live a good life. I live a great life by global standards. I probably live the best life. But I look up, right? Like there's always that, oh, that this house is nice. I would love to be in this bigger house. And they'll get into that house and from a $5 million house, not that I'm in one, Then you look at a 10,000,000, and for the $10,000,000 house, you're looking at the $20,000,000 house, and it cascades up, but you always forget that there's someone who's looking at your house saying, "Wow, that's my dream." How do you, especially now with, like, how much your music has blown up in the last few years, how do you stay, grounded with the success? Not, and it's not a bad thing to want to succeed and go after it, but how do you stay humble? How do you stay rooted?
I regularly think of what me a few years ago would have thought, especially like if I'm going to travel to do something and I'm like, ugh, like not super up for it or whatever.
Mm,
I'll think like, but 6 years ago that this would have been my whole like month. Like I would have been excited for this the whole month, and I would like this would have made like yeah, it would have been a huge thing for me. This thing that's now like a minor inconvenience in a way, and then I see huge artists or um like when you mentioned it, the first thing that came to mind was like the billionaires. I don't think the richest man in the world is just like, I did it. Like this is I'm complete now. I have all of the money. That's enough for me. Like
yeah,
th- it doesn't matter how high up you get. Like the bar is always a little bit above where you are, I think. And
yeah.
if that's a yeah, and that's a with the point of trying to stay in the present is like not trying to look at the bar so much.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I agree with you. A lot of the people that I follow for inspiration, entrepreneurs, investors, whatever it is, say the same thing as, "You know what I did when I made my first 10,000,000 or 100,000,000? I had a nice dinner and a cigar, and then I woke up and called my business partner and said, 'Okay, what's next?'"
Yeah,
And it's not necessarily that they're chasing the money. I think that the people who are driven to create just can't stop creating, and that's the trick. You said it yourself, is learning to be present and enjoy the moment, because this is the point. If you're not happy now,
yeah,
with it, let's use you as an example. If you're not happy now, if you're not content with your life with uh quarter billion streams, when are you going to be? When is that goalpost going to be enough? And
yeah,
that's
yeah. And it's like because I'm way further in my like career than I ever like planned on getting. So I'm past
yeah.
the finish line in a way.
Mm,
So like it like I go past that, and then it's just like, okay, there's just another one. Like I just see the next one. Oh wait,
yeah.
it's like when you go up a mountain and then like we reach the top, but wait, the top is actually here, and then you go there. Ah, no, wait, it's over here actually, and
There's
just
so
keep
much
going.
more to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw something recently that I'm doing now. It was a video was fed to me, and it was a little story about Aristotle, the philosopher, and he was examining the mindset of men who were, in battle versus not. I'm probably butchering the story, but the point is he came up with this question, and he said, "What does that make me?" So that's the question that I ask myself now when I am making decisions, like that's my drive and my motivation, not what will I get or how will I make that money, but what does that make me now? Who does that make me now? If I choose to have this beer and relax instead of going to sleep and getting up and going to the gym, who does that make me? And it's just a small trick of the mind that keeps me like, prioritizing things a little bit better. Uh, Family, kids, how do you balance it now with touring? Because you have a tour coming up, I believe, in the autumn, in the fall for North America.
October.
What how do you balance being a dad and being a big musician?
I was very clear with it from the start when I started touring that I'm not gonna be touring all year, or like I'm not gonna go on 4 months away. Like a month and a half is the most that I've done, but I tried not to go for more than like a month. And this year, it's the only tour that I'm doing. So outside of like weekend trips to do festivals and stuff like that, like I'm home. So I'm very like outside of this month that I'm doing the tour, I'm super present at home. And very I have I can decide basically when I'm working, which also means that I can work all the time. But it does mean that when I'm needed to do something like that, I can be there. Like if there's a
Yeah.
thing at school that that where like the parents are supposed to come and support, like I'll be there. Like most of the time, I'm not I'm not bound to be doing something at a specific time. Then I'll just have to come in the evening and work then.
So, prioritizing family, prioritizing music, but knowing when to put one down for the other, a good balance between them.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. I'm at least very conscious about um l- s- yeah staying having time for the family. Like I know it's a very cliche thing to say, but it's I think cliches are there for a reason because it's true for so many people. But like when you get kids and you have a family in this way, like it is the only important thing in a way. Like everything
Yeah.
else is just around it. But like the thing that I'm doing with my life right now is raising kids.
I'm with you. And I think if you have balance, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can
Yeah,
go
for me
extreme.
to
Yeah.
be
Sorry, go ahead.
to be the dad that I want to be, I have to be content in my life as well. And if I was spending all my time just being a dad, I would be miserable. Like I need
Mhm.
to, I have this drive to create stuff and like be around other people and like have all these life experiences and stuff like that. And I feel like that's like if I didn't also do that, if there wasn't a balance, then I would not probably be the best dad.
Yeah. Sometimes I grind, sometimes I stop and I say, "Okay, this weekend, I'm not touching email. I'm gonna go and be an idiot with my kids and chase them around and jump in the ocean, do whatever they want."
Yeah.
Balance is everything, and it's so funny because this is a great place to kinda wrap up slowly. Too much, not enough. That is that beautiful balance of life. Do you think that you've kind of figured out that balance for yourself? Is it still a struggle or is it coming to you more easily?
Um, I think I'm more conscious about it, but I definitely haven't like found the perfect middle ground, and I don't think I probably ever will. Also because like everything is changing constantly, especially
Mm.
with the kids growing up. Then I don't think if I find some balance now, it's going to be different in a few weeks. Like that, I just have to be conscious about it all the time.
You know what's funny is you just made me have a thought. Maybe the search for the balance is the balance. Maybe the fact that we struggle with working too much some days and being with the kids too much on others is that balance. Maybe
Uh,
we are living the perfect balance without even, realizing it. And that search for is just us living.
yeah, and it's another thing in that um, thinking of like being in the future kind of mindset. Like I'm working towards being more in the present. Like in the future, I'll be more in the present.
So
So
you're
that's
present. All right. Well, listen, I've had a lovely time. Clearly, there is some emotion in the Icelandic people. We can get
it's there
smiles. We'll
somewhere.
get. uh, at the end of these conversations, I always have my guest wrap us up with the final word, a piece of wisdom. For listeners and viewers to take away. It could be anything. We didn't even really dive into music. I'm going to stop my own self because I believe in uh, being authentic. And when you make a mistake, you make a mistake. Let me ask you one more question before we wrap up.
All right.
As much as this is about mindset and coaching and your story, I also love to pull stuff out for other creatives, which, in our world is mostly musicians. What are one or two of the things that are the most important for your success, for where you are now, that if you could have gone back in time and told yourself 10, 20 years ago, you need this to get there, they would be?
Um, I don't think I would change a lot. Like I feel like I've like whatever music I've been making was for the right reason for the time. Like I don't have some magic thing that would have made something pan out in a better way or anything like that. I think I needed
Mhm.
to get to where I am now in the way that I got here. I think so. I don't really regret things.
I live the same way, and I think that's a fantastic answer. Let me be more specific with my question. What are some one or two things that independent musicians really need to focus on that'll help them with their chances of success? What are some of the things you've done that are irreplaceable that you still do maybe?
It's different for everybody, of course, but for me, it was allowing myself to not be so like not try to be a serious musician. Like I allow myself to be cringe, to just be silly, and as long as it's something that I like is a lot more true to who I am as a person. I think like I'm not the most serious guy, even though I might be stoic. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's for me like the biggest thing that because it's closer to who I actually am.
Mm,
And for me, I'm lucky that that kind of like humor is kind of it works as a marketable thing.
yeah.
Um, who whoever is listening is as a person. There must be a marketable part of it if that's what you want to do. But um, if you're just in it for the music, actually, then just make the music that you want to make. If it
Mm,
if it gets popular, then great. And if it doesn't, at least you made something that you can stand by and you can listen to later and be proud of.
yeah, that's beautiful. I agree with you. I think that your authentic self is your art, right? So if you feel slightly goofy when you're creating serious music, that's okay. Embrace that. Don't worry about what others think. If you genuinely feel like the art you're producing is a representation of yourself, that is the best art.
Yeah,
I have a saying that started with my friends that I'm now going to be stealing and using everywhere. PPOP, put passion on paper. It started as a very simple idea. And then I realized the other day with all of these conversations that authenticity is number one. Your passion that you put on paper, your art, your written word, your creation, that is everything. And the double entendre there is that paper is money. So if you put passion down, on paper, it has the highest chance of actually generating revenue for you because it's gonna be real. So
yeah,
be fucking goofy.
yeah, and release the music.
Yeah.
Release the stuff that you're making because if nobody sees it, it's not going to do anything
Amen.
unless it's just
Okay.
for you. It depends on what you want to do. If you want it as a career, people need to see it.
True enough. Now you can give me that final wisdom.
Um, yeah, the last thing I want to say is be yourself. Unless who you are is a bad person, then don't be that. Then change. If you're great, then stay that way. And remember, you're fabulous and you're wonderful and you're nice. And I love you.